Imagine giving your credit card to 20 people and telling them, buy whatever you need, no limits. That's exactly what most companies do in cloud until the bill arrives. Chaos, sprawl, shadow IT. It's not a matter of if it happens, it's a matter of when it happens. How do you bring order to this digital wild west? In this video, we will talk about why Azure Governance matters even before you create your first virtual machine. What does Azure Resource Manager actually manage? How to automate deployments using Azure Resource Manager templates, and what exactly is RBAC? What is tagging and why is it so important? Welcome back to our AZ-120 SAP Workloads on Azure series. In this series, we are exploring foundations of identity and governance for SAP on Azure. And in this video, we will talk about governance for SAP on Azure. If you're new here, my name is Rajdeep. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer and a solution architect, helping clients build amazing solutions every day. And we are on a mission to crack certifications and have fun in that process. Topic 1. Why does governance matter? Let's start simple. Imagine you are building a house with 10 contractors. One team puts the kitchen on the roof and another team forgets to build the walls. That's your cloud without governance. Azure Governance is a set of rules, roles and tools that make sure your cloud doesn't overspend, stays compliant, and is organized and secure. Without governance, even the most advanced setup turns into a spaghetti of resources, policies, billing anomalies, and who deployed this moments. Now that we know why governance matters, let's look at the governance framework. Let's look at how Azure helps you do it. The Azure Governance Framework is like a blueprint for order. It has 5 key pillars. Management groups. Think of them as folders above subscriptions, useful for applying organization-wide rules. Subscriptions, logical billing unit. You can isolate workloads or business units here. Resource groups, the containers where actual Azure resources like VMs, web apps, and storage live. Resources, these are your actual services which run on Azure, like your app servers, databases, and networks. Tags are the metadata that you attach to your resources to slice, dice, and filter your environment. So imagine these are nested Russian dolls. Each layer controls the one inside it. Azure Governance provides us a structured framework to manage and control the Azure resources. This ensures alignment with organizational goals for security, compliance, and cost efficiency. We now understood governance and why it matters. Now let's understand Azure Resource Manager so that we can understand how governance can be achieved in Azure, since ARM will help us achieve that. A quick backstory into ARM. Before ARM, pre-2014, deploying Azure resources was like assembling IKEA furniture without a manual. Resources were standalone and hard to manage. ARM changed everything. It gave us JSON-based templates. It introduced role-based access control, and it allowed consistent deployment models. Think of ARM like a conductor of an orchestra, making sure all resources play in the sync. Let us understand ARM, aka Azure Resource Manager, in detail. The basic building block for a service or solution is a resource. So how does Azure Resource Manager does the resource management? It interacts with the resource providers. These resource providers implement actions which are passed on through Azure Portal, PowerShell, CLI, or REST APIs. So now you know, when you click and create a resource group, for example, it is actually the ARM template which gets generated in the background, and that ARM template in turn deploys the Azure resource. Now we already know that every resource needs to be present in a resource group. But do you know a resource can exist in only one resource group? Resources in the same resource group share a life cycle. By using resource groups, you can manage aspects such as cost of a group of resources or delegate permissions to the set of resources, even audit events on these group of resources. Now there are some limits or quotas on the number of resources you can provision. This is governed by ARM. Some limits are hard limits, while others are soft limits. Soft limits can be increased upon request. You might hit a soft limit while deploying various resources like VMs, databases, or storage accounts. This will impact your ability to deploy any further resources. But it is important to know that these can be removed by raising a request. However, hard limits are, as the word suggests, hard. So these most probably cannot be increased. This information is crucial when you're planning your SAP on Azure deployment. Now we might want to have a look as to how these Azure Resource Manager templates look like. Now ARM template is basically a JSON formatted definition of Azure resources. This also contains parameters and variables that facilitate customizing their configuration. Let's have a look at the portal and understand the structure. If you look at the resource group and go to the export templates blade, we can see the template behind the resource. So as you can see, the template behind the resource is displayed here. Let's break it down. The first line says $schema. $schema tells Azure rules the templates should follow. It points to the file that defines the template structure. The file type may change based on the type of resource, like a resource group, subscription, etc. The next line says content version. The version number of the template is defined here. This will help keep track of the changes in the template and ensure that the template type is the right template for deployment. These are the two required elements. Apart from these, there are elements which are optional. The next element is API profile. Now, what's an API profile? Forget it. What's an API? Well, an API, commonly known as Application Programming Interface, in simple terms is a messenger that allows two different software programs to talk to each other and share information or services. It's like being in a restaurant and talking to the waiter. API. Waiter talks to the kitchen and brings the food back to the table. Another example is a weather app on your phone. Here the app uses an API to talk to a weather service API for the latest weather forecast. The weather service sends the data back through the API and the app shows it to you. API makes it easier for developers to build apps by letting them use features or data from other software. API version is nothing but an iteration of the API that defines how clients can interact with the service. APIs evolve to include new features, fix bugs, or make improvements. To avoid breaking existing applications that depend on older API behavior, different API versions are maintained. Now coming back to API profile, what is it? It's a bundle of specific API versions for multiple Azure resource types grouped together. Instead of specifying API version for each resources individually in ARM, you specify API profile version. This in turn automatically applies the correct API version to all the resources. See? It's that simple. Let's get back to the Azure portal. Next up, parameters. Now these are values which shape your deployment. You might remember from one of my previous videos we talked about tf-wars file. Well, that are called parameters in Azure Resource Manager or ARM. Variables are simple. They allow you to make your template more flexible. Instead of hard coding values, you can create variables and later pass those values via parameter files. Resources, these are which you want to deploy, for example, a resource like a VNet or a resource subnet or a VM resource. Apart from these, there are other template values as well, which are outputs. Outputs are values which are returned once the deployment is done. You might want to use these outputs for other Azure deployments. And finally, functions. You might want to do some extra programming, for example, create the name of a virtual machine dynamically or retrieve some values dynamically. You might use functions. So now that we have a basic understanding of how ARM template looks like, let's actually create one and deploy it. Just a basic one should be good. Let's fire up our Visual Studio Code and we will create a new file called rj.json. rj is just a random name, while JSON is the extension which tells Visual Studio Code that this is a JSON file. Now here, just type ARM and an exclamation mark and type enter, and VS Code will fill the document with the skeletal ARM structure. Now we can go ahead and populate this ARM structure. So the first thing which I will create is the parameters. So I have created the parameters. I have given RG name and a default value to it. The default value is my resource group, which is basically the name of the resource group, and some metadata, which is basically the description of what resource I am going to create. Next, I will create the location of the resource group. So I have created the resource group location now. The default value of the resource group location is UK South. Next, I will create the resources. Our basic ARM template is now ready. We have parameters where we have defined the RG name, the RG location, and tags. We have not put any tags, which is fine. And I have created a resources as well to define what resource I want to create. Basically, I want to create a resource group here. So I have to now log into the Azure CLI. So I will do that. I will log into my tenant. I'm logged into my tenant now. Let me run the deployment command here, and you can see it's running. Shortly, we will check the Azure portal and see if the resource group is created. So we logged into the Azure portal and we can see that the resource group has already been created. This is, remember, being deployed by the ARM template which we had created using Visual Studio Code. So we have covered basic ARM template. If you like my content, do consider to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so that you get notified for any new video which gets created. Now let's understand role-based access control. Now this is coming back to our governance bit. Let's understand why it's required. To put it simply, as the name suggests, RBAC allows you to control who you assign permission to for a particular resource based on his or her role. For example, you have a VM, you only allow login to the VM for VM administrators. They cannot delete or update the VM from the portal. There are Azure administrators who can delete or update the VM, but they do not have login rights to the VM. So you see, you can control at a very granular level who has access to the resource, what his or her access to a resource is. Azure RBAC is scoped either to a subscription, a resource group, or a specific resource within a resource group. Let's try to apply RBAC to a resource group in our Azure portal. Now back to our resource group which we created through our ARM template. Now here, make a note of what resource group you are using. Select the access control IAM blade. This blade will be available for many different resources, so you can control access. Now select the roles tab here. Review the large number of built-in roles that are available here: owner, contributor, reader, arc delete, arc pull, and there are many. So you can apply specific roles to a specific individual. Let's say you want to give a contributor right to a particular user. Let's say you want to understand what a particular role is. So let's understand what a contributor can do. So let's click on contributor and click on the view, and you can see all the actions that a contributor can perform. So contributor can perform a lot of actions. Let's compare this with the reader access. So let's go ahead and view the details of a reader, and you can see all the actions which a reader has are read only. They cannot actually modify anything on the Azure portal. They only get read access. Now, how do you add a role assignment? You can click on the role assignment tabs, click on add, and click on add a role assignment. You can select which role you want to give to a particular user. Select that, click on next, and then you can select a user or a group of users. Say I will click on select members, search the name of the user with a email address or by name. If I select this particular individual, select on it and then click on next. I am providing a reader access to Abraham J. Snyder. If I click on next and review and assign, the reader access for this particular resource group is assigned to the individual. So this is how you can apply specific roles to specific users. In fact, you can apply access for a particular resource, and you can also specify what access a user will have on this particular resource. This will help an organization which wants to comply with various security and compliance requirements. This is a very, very critical piece. Now that we have understood role-based access control, let's understand another important aspect of the governance, which is tags. Now, tags use case is generating billing data for Azure resources. You might want to understand how much you are spending on your development, staging, and production environment. You can generate a report on the tag development and you will straight away get the data. You can apply 50 tags to a resource. However, tags applied to a resource group are not inherited to the underlying resources, you might have to apply them separately. This brings us to the end of the video. We learned some important concepts around governance, such as ARM templates, RBAC, and tags. If you have any questions or comments, do drop them in the comment section below. In our next video, we will wrap up the governance topic. We will explore Azure Policy, Management Groups, Azure Automation, Security and Compliance Services. If you like the content, consider giving it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you do not miss next video in this learning journey. Till then, keep learning, have fun, and see you in the next one.